Well, football season is finally here, and as you head to and from the stadium to cheer on your favorite team, NHTSA would like you to remember that there are risks to driving drunk. So this season, let's all make sure to drive safely and responsibly. Drive sober or get pulled over. All right, guys, Baker Mayfield wasn't holding back in an interview with GQ. Baker said he couldn't believe that the Giants took quarterback Daniel Jones with the 6th overall pick and that it, quote, blows my mind. When asked about Baker's comments, Jones said, quote, I'm not sure I would do it that way, but everyone's got a different way of doing things. Later, Baker backtracked on Instagram saying this. That is not what I said. Just so we're clear, I also said I was surprised I got drafted #1. Then was talking about the flaws in evaluating quarterbacks, where I brought up winning being important. Reporters and media will do anything to come up with a clickbait story for nothing but good things and wish nothing but the best for Daniel. So, Shannon, what is really going on?
I think sometimes Baker says things for clickbait. Skip, there are certain things I understand, you being who you are, but sometimes you get into a position where you can't say and do the things that you once could. And I'm tired, people, oh, that's who he is. No, it's not. There comes a certain point in time in your life that you become a professional, and the things you used to say and some of the things you used to do, you can no longer do. Baker Mayfield, you're a professional. You're the #1 overall draft pick. You're thought of as the franchise of the Cleveland Browns. You can't do this. Now, what if Daniel Jones said, man, I can't believe Cleveland Browns took a drunk? A guy that got drunk on someone else's campus and ran from the police. Now, so when does the NFL start signing up drunks to be quarterbacks? You see, Baker would have been hurt, and then he'd have lashed back. Why are you commenting on this man? You quarterback the Cleveland Browns. Why are you worried about what the Giants did? That's Skip and I's job. That's what others are for do, who get paid to do that. You don't get paid to evaluate talent, and you don't get to have an opinion. You get the right to have an opinion, but as a quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, do you understand how you come off as? Skip, let me tell you what probably happened. He's probably sitting over there, and Daniel Jones came up there, and the reporter's sitting there. Now, you doing the interview, okay, man, I can't believe they took him.
That's exactly what was reported. It just came up on the screen, and he offered that up.
Piece about Daniel Jones on Sports.
Right.
It was on
and so what happened, Skip, it was like, but they didn't say, they didn't say what I said, what was in between, Skip. I woke up this morning, and I came to work, and I went to bed. I'm going to go to bed tonight at about 9 o'clock. In between, I'm going to rob 3 or 4 banks. So does that make anything? How does that lessen the blow? Because we don't know what you said in between. We know what you said about a quarterback, that you can't believe that the Giants took him. Skip, you're the CEO. It's hard for me to believe that a CEO would basically come out and speak negatively about, not maybe behind closed doors. Like I said, Skip, I get with my boys and I say some things, or I go to the barbershop, we say certain things because that's barbershop talk, that's talk between boys. But as a professional, there are certain things you can't say. I can't believe Kansas City took Tony Gonzalez. Man, they ain't win no games. He wasn't catching but 20 passes. How they took that rascal in the first round?
I've heard you say that before, right?
So, no. Skip, come on, Skip.
Nah.
You know you can't do things like that.
You cannot. So somebody is really wrong here. Either Baker's not telling the truth, or the writer in question really messed this up. And I told you yesterday, and I'm going to just for the record say it again, I got to know Clay Skipper, the writer of this piece, when he was a student at my school, Vanderbilt. And I got to know him because he's the son of John Skipper, who at that point was running ESPN and became a close friend of mine. And the time I spent around Clay told me he is really sharp. So the quote is the quote. And as a journalist, I can tell you, you can either make up a quote, just completely make one up, or you can take it completely out of context and make it seem that you're saying one thing when you meant another.
Right.
In this case, the way the story was told, as Jenny points out, it's hard to either fabricate it or take it out of context because it was clearly just an aside.
Right.
At some point, maybe early in the interview. It's also very possible Baker wasn't sure the interview had even started yet.
Right.
Maybe he thought it was sort of quote unquote off the record.
Right, okay.
But he clearly didn't say this is just between us.
Right.
Because I believe Clay would honor that.
Right,
You
correct.
just said, hey, don't quote me on this.
Right.
But can you believe they took Daniel Jones?
Right.
But he just looked up and off the top of his head uttered those words.
Right.
And I believe that's exactly what he said, because it's hard to it's hard to fabricate that quote. I cannot believe the Giants took Daniel Jones. And the way it's presented in the context of just glancing up at the package on SportsCenter of Daniel Jones,
Right.
it rings completely true. Blows my mind, right?
Yeah.
Okay? How do you take that out of context? It is what it is. He either said it or he didn't say it, and I believe 100% he said it.
I believe.
Maybe I should say 99.9.
Well, he could also tell Clay Skipper, release the audio. If we can release the audio, Skip, all we got to do is really, because there were a lot of times when I first got into the league, Skip, guys, a lot of times, guys would just, they didn't have the recorder all the time. They would just jot down what you said. But because they were jotting down what you were saying, and then you got blowback, they're like, that's not what I said, and he didn't have any way to confirm or deny it. Now they start putting these recorders on. Put that tape on, put the audio. Let's play the audio, and we're going to see what Baker Mayfield said or didn't say. Because if you said that in the audio...
Okay, we just talked about all the hours I spent interviewing Jerry Jones, just hanging out with Jerry Jones for the 3 books I wrote. The one thing I always appreciated and respected about Jerry, he just made it clear from the start, whatever I say, I say. It's fair game.
Right.
So there was never an off the record. Maybe there were a couple of times, I don't remember, but maybe he said, now don't quote me on this, but usually he's just unhinged.
Right.
He's unedited. He's unfiltered. He's just talking. And whether I'm writing it down or tape recording it, even if we're just walking and talking informally, to me, it's fair game. It's on the record. And it seems like this should be fair game, because it could have been in the course of the interview, or maybe he thought they were just sort of getting to know each other at the first, just small talking about how's the weather in Cleveland. And maybe he glanced up and said, I can't believe they took Daniel Jones. Well, to me, the interview, it starts the second Clay Skipper sits down in the restaurant booth.
Correct.
Okay.
And the thing, Skip, and the thing, look, you might say certain things. I might say that this guy wasn't good, but I'm not going to say it in front of a reporter. Or there were times, Skip, I'm going to be straight up with you. I would say things in the locker room. I was like, hey, and reporter, y'all know that's off the record, right?
Okay. Nobody burned you?
No.
Okay.
Wow.
You know why? Because you were too valuable.
I'm okay. I'm going to give you enough stuff on the record.
Correct.
You don't have to worry about anything that I say off the record. But I don't get scared. You and I both know there comes a certain point in time in your life where you elevate. Skip, as you elevate, you can't be that same person.
No.
And to say, oh, that's Baker being Baker. Baker could be Baker when he was in high school or he was in college. But as you start to elevate, as prominence come, you want to be that same. You want to be that same man.
Okay, I agree with your big picture premise, but once you say it, if you're Baker, man, you got to own that.
Just own it.
Stand up to it. Yep, I said that. You could say, I regret it. You could say, I was a little too harsh. You could have said, you could even say, I didn't know he was going to quote me on that, but I did say that. And I hope the kid does well, but I've had my doubts, or however you want to say it.
Skip, we got in 2009 Super Bowl run, we were saying things about the Tennessee Titans, about Jeff Fisher, about the football team. And every quote that we said, they were playing it on the video board. And we didn't say they missed. We were missed.
In the playoff?
In the playoff game, Skip. And it wasn't
I was there.
I said, whatever they say we said it. What y'all gonna do about it?
Okay.
Nothing.
Ultimately, that's...
Nothing.
Yeah.
I love Baker, guys. You know how I feel about him. But when he says in this that reporters and media will do anything to come up with a clickbait story, you take that personal, because it's just in your career as a reporter, writer, journalist, you don't risk that. You just don't risk that. You're not going to misquote someone. You're not going to misquote Baker Mayfield for that moment. It's just too risky. Your career's over. So I think that it's hard, because we all are trying to do our best job. And you're just not going to risk it.
Because, Skip, you've seen it before. Oh, man, don't talk to him. That's the dude that wrote that bad. No, don't talk to him. You don't want that.
You don't want that.
You know, word travel quick.
You're done. You're done. Your career
So Baker
changes.
Mayfield wrote on Instagram yesterday, "This is not what I said." Okay, well, somebody's lying here, right?
It's simple as that, Skip.
Okay.
Somebody's lying. Ain't no misspeaking the truth. There's no, fabric stretching it. Somebody is lying. And the thing is about Skip, my girl used to say all the time, boy, you don't never have to remember a lie. I mean, the truth. You always have to, because the lies, because you got to keep it. Okay, now what did I tell Skip? Now what did I tell Jenny?
Yep.
If you tell the truth is lines up every time.
Okay, and my takeaway from this yesterday was Baker did tell the truth. I mean, I agree with his premise.
Skip, a lot of analysts says, man, that was a stretch.
Yeah.
At 6, we believe you could have got the guy in the teens. Maybe when you had to pick, I think it was the 17. I believe you could have got him there. But Skip, as a quarterback, now Skip, if he's on a network and he's Orlovsky or one of these guys that are quarterbacks now, and he wants to have that take, that's what he's getting paid to do.
Yeah.
But Skip, that's not what Baker's getting paid to do. As a current quarterback, these quarterbacks they done got out of pocket. Because these guys they used to talk like, especially about the Skip, they were so lockstep and walking step by step, they broke the union and formed their own union, the quarterbacks club. That's when people like, well, the running back should, maybe they should. But Skip, I can't even imagine John Elway would ever say something negative publicly about Joe, and Joe would say something negative about Dan. It might have happened, but I don't remember it, Skip. But these guys now.
Okay, what do I love about Baker? And you know how much I love, just like Jenny does Baker.
Yeah.
He is shattering the mold. You call him a rebel. He's just doing it his way.
Right.
And he always talks about, I'm going to do it my way, whether you like it or not. Okay, well, this was his way, so just stand by it.
Exactly.
Okay?
Don't do Michael Jackson at the Motown Awards in '83, moonwalk. Stand up.
And half the reason I like Baker so much is because of how he was to me as a reporter at those games. Always called on time, always gave anyone the time of day. He was so respectful to the media. So I don't think that, I think it's the issue that he kind of backtracked that's the problem. If he would have just owned it, look, we all reacted to Daniel Jones that way, but he could have said simply, I wish the best for him.
Okay, so he planted the flag at Ohio State and he owned it. He grabbed his crotch and he owned it. He hit the TCU kid running across the back of his end zone in the pregame warm-ups right in the head, and he owned it. And I can go on and on. That's Baker Mayfield. All those summed up to why John Dorsey took him #1 overall. I like whatever that fire is.
And like you just said, all those incidents, he owned it. Owned this one.
All right, maybe a lesson learned as to everyone's listening when you're the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Will John Gruden and Antonio Brown be able to last? This is an interesting relationship brewing. James Harrison joins us next with his thoughts.